Evening everyone, welcome to day one of the 12 days of Ayurveda series. So over the next 12 days, we'll be overviewing every day one unique gift that Ayurveda offers us in terms of self-care, in terms of health optimization, in terms of disease prevention, just overviewing one simple nugget that's really easy to implement, really easy to embed into our lives that gives us a really significant health gain. And today, day one, we're kicking it off with the doshas because that's the place we have to start. It's the doshas are absolutely at the center, at the heart of everything to do with Ayurveda and to do with Ayurvedic medicine. And the doshas essentially inform everything that makes us up as individuals, whether it's our physiological body, our anatomical body, our emotions, our psychology, our idiosyncrasies, everything about us, every single facet of us is governed by what Ayurveda terms as the doshas. And there are three types. So there's something called vata, something called pitta, and something called kapha. And I guess if you're new to the doshas, the best way of really understanding what they are and how they relate to the Western mind is that they're very similar to genetics. Genetics says that the reason you've got blue eyes and you're 6'2" and you're good at running or whatever it may be is because of your genetic makeup. And the doshas are loosely similar to that. It's the makeup of doshas within us that inform why we are who we are in every possible sense of the word. And I think knowing our doshic makeup, knowing how the doshas play out in me as an individual and you as an individual, I think it represents, to my mind, the most powerful system of preventative medicine that there ever has been and ever will be. And preventative medicine is the be-all and end-all as far as I'm concerned. The famous saying, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. If everyone gets sick, and we need medicine to treat us when we get sick, but the better way is to be so proactive in how we support our body and how we prevent illness that we don't get sick in the first place, or we get sick very, very rarely. So preventative medicine is key, particularly now in current world with chronic diseases exploding. And just knowing our doshic makeup, it just affords us a level of preventative medicine that I just think is mind-blowingly effective. It's unparalleled. And I say that from personal experience. I say that having worked with Ayurveda clinically, for so many years. And why do I think that? Why is that the case? There's lots of reasons. There's lots of, that I could talk all day about that. But the thing I want to emphasize tonight is that all illnesses, all problems, all ailments have quite a long latency period. And this is something that Ayurveda said for thousands of years, but Western research is now supporting in that the symptoms of an illness might present overnight. But the actual environment that allowed that illness to develop can have a latency period going back months or even years. That ranges from things like cancer, heart diseases, Alzheimer's. The latency period during which that illness developed can be years long. And it applies to things like, the common cold, IBS, anxiety, anything you can think of. You don't go from being healthy, and then bang, you wake up one day symptomatic of an illness. There's always a latency period. So the week before you come down with a cold, you may have noticed that you've been sleeping poorly and you're run down, and that allowed the cold virus to induce an infection. The week before an anxiety attack, if you're prone to anxiety, a week or 10 days before you get an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you may have found this building sense of pressure, this building sense of overwhelm that was just gradually piling up before the anxiety manifested. If you suffer from IBS, in the 7, 10, 14 days before a flare-up, you may have noticed that you were working too much and you didn't have much time and your diet wasn't very good and you were eating the wrong foods at the wrong time, and then bang, you get a flare-up. But the key thing is that the flare-up happened because of what we were doing in the week, 2 weeks, month before we developed the given problem. And what the doshas do, if we have a super fine, if we have a really, really well-developed level of self-awareness and self-understanding, if we have eyes to see and ears to hear, if we're able to see in our body those subtle changes, but because before any problem in the body manifests as symptoms, there will always be signs that something is not quite right. And for most people, most of the time, we're not self-aware enough to actually be able to recognize those subtle signs that the body is not quite right. But as soon as we cultivate, even within a couple of weeks, a month of learning and embedding Ayurvedic practices, you're able to realize that today's a good day. I had a good day yesterday. I ate good food at the right time, had good bowel function. I feel good. Or had a bad night's sleep, a stressful day yesterday. I feel sluggish. I feel tired. Those different situations inform how we live that day. Do we take different herbs? Do we need more sleep? Do we need a relaxing medicated bath? Do we need to energize ourselves? Do we need a relaxing yoga flow, a dynamic yoga flow? But we can only make those decisions if we're self-aware enough to understand that something isn't quite right in the body. And that is what the doshas give us. They give us the ability to realize that something is not quite right before it manifests as a labeled problem. And this is something that we're hell-bent on kind of emphasizing in our clinic. If you suffer from arthritis or any given problem, there will always be these signs of something happening before you get a fully fledged flare-up. And if you can intervene then, the ability to stop the cold coming, to stop the anxiety attack happening, to stop the IBS flare-up kicking in, is almost entirely in our hands. We have the capacity to say, this is going wrong because of X, I'm going to intervene with Y. But we need to have a level of self-awareness that allows us to achieve that. And that is what the doshas give us. They afford us this exceptional level of self-awareness and understanding. Okay, and I think if everyone in the Western world understood their doshic makeup and understood how to act upon that knowledge, I'm convinced that we could radically transform the public health profile and go some way to curbing the chronic disease explosion that we're experiencing in the West, because it has the ability to do that. So one of the really big parts of this 12-day series is just to emphasize the need to get an understanding of what the doshas are and how to assess that. And it's too kind of broad an issue to discuss in a context like this. So what we've done is if you head over to our homepage, if you head over to mindbodymedical.co.uk, there's a box on there that says free resources. If you click on there, there's another box that says the introduction to the Ayurveda series. If you click on that, it will give you an extensive library of videos and PDF documents and downloads that will give you everything you need to get started in understanding the doshas. So you can complete a really good, valid questionnaire to assess your doshic makeup right now. And say you come out as being strongly Vata or strongly Pitta or whatever, you can then look at the videos. What does that mean? If I'm a strong Vata type person, what does that mean in terms of my predispositions, my likes, my dislikes, my risk factors? And knowing that, what do I do about it? How do I prevent these problems? What kinds of herbs should I be using? What kinds of foods should I be eating? What kinds of self-care practices should I be adopting based not on mass populations, but based on me as an individual? Okay, so that series, that introduction to the Ayurveda series, it actually comes from our Ayurvedic Mentor platform, which is our exclusive self-care membership site, but we've made it freely available as part of this 12-day series, just to help people get a really good understanding of Ayurveda and the doshas. So that's going to be freely available for the next 12 days to allow everyone to take part completely freely. Okay, so head over to that, complete the questionnaire, read the documents, watch the videos. And if you just take one thing away from this 12 days, make it that you understand your makeup, what that means, what the risk factors are. Because I virtually promise you that if you walk through daily life with that knowledge, you can drastically transform your health. I know it because I've seen it in myself, in my family, working clinically. It just lets us see I'm having a good day because of X, I'm having a bad day because of Y. because I'm having a bad day, this is how I intervene to make it a good day before I get the tension headache, before I get the migraine, before I get the IBS. It just stops, it nips things in the bud. It's the classic case of, you know, shutting the gate before the horse bolts, okay? So check out that series. Make sure if you could go and check that out, that would be great. Tomorrow, day 2, we're talking about something that I've spoken a lot about, I know, over the previous year, but I don't want familiarity to breed contempt with it, which is why the practice of self-abhyanga or self-massage is, you know, still stacking up as one of the most powerful self-care practices in terms of our mental health, our emotional health, our immunological health, our cardiovascular health. It's quick, it's simple, it's evidence-based, it's profoundly effective. We're talking about what it is, why it works, herbal oils and things like that. So that will be tomorrow's content. Okay, so hi everyone, hi Tamara from Chile, Austria. It's pretty chilly here tonight actually. And as a very random point, in Ayurveda they say, you know, on a full moon like this, you're meant to leave a cup of water on a windowsill in view of the sun. You drink that water in the morning. It's meant to be saturated with kind of the energy of the moon. Hi Jackie, hi Paula, hi Pippa, hi Katie, hi Claire. I hope you guys are all well. So thank you for joining me tonight, and I look forward to kicking off day 2 tomorrow. Have a lovely evening, everyone.